The movie opens with a handsome man struggling to walk in the snow. It's Christmas Eve and everyone is celebrating. The handsome stranger, Daniel, reaches a big house filled with people and smiles in relief. In that house is the love of his life, a beautiful woman named Lily. Lily is upset and grabs her things to leave the house when another man worriedly goes after her. Daniel smiles happily when he sees Lily, but the smile slowly dims when the other man hugs her tightly. Before Daniel can call her name or do anything about the situation, someone hits him hard in the head, and he falls on the ground unconscious. 100 years later, in the same city where Daniel passed away, it's Christmas time again. The whole town is decorated with pretty lights and Christmas trees, and the thick snow covers it all in a white blanket. It's in this scene that a pretty lawyer called Kate is dumped by her boyfriend. They are in a cozy restaurant, and Kate swore her boyfriend would propose to her when he starts a speech complimenting her. It's the opposite. Her boyfriend wants to break up because he knows Kate doesn't love him and they are both wasting their time. Instead of being upset, Kate is relieved. She agrees with her boyfriend's analysis of her. She's incapable of love. All her other boyfriends said the same thing, and she wholeheartedly agrees. Kate's passion in life is her job, not romantic relationships. She enjoys going out with people, but she never makes the relationship her priority. The following day, Kate receives another job. She has to sell an old, historical mansion in their town by the end of the year. The last person living there passed away and left no heirs, so the state will sell it. Kate's boss informs her that if she manages to complete the job successfully, she might have the chance of becoming the new associate at the firm. That's all Kate ever wanted in her career, and she's determined to do everything in her power to sell the old house. There's only one issue with her plan. The house is apparently haunted, and plenty of people already tried to sell it to no avail. Kate doesn't believe in ghosts or any other superstition, so she disregards that piece of information. She wouldn't allow anyone, much less a ghost, to disrupt her plans for the future. The mansion is called Hollygrave Inn. It's an impressive colonial house with many rooms and spacious grounds. Kate arrives there and sees the man she's supposed to meet leaving in a hurry. She tries talking to him, but he ignores her and drives as if he's being chased by something. Kate is confused by his strange behavior, but continues with her job. She walks to the house, finding it open. There's an eerie silence that makes her skin crawl, but still she continues forward. The house is as beautiful inside as it is outside. There are portraits of the old owners everywhere. A particular picture catches Kate's attention. It's a very handsome and tall man with a serious expression. Kate's enchanted by his deep light eyes. It feels almost as if he can see her soul. A man shows up, scaring her, and she feels self-conscious for staring at the picture. He introduces himself as Rafferty, and he's responsible for taking care of the house while it doesn't sell. He mentions that Kate's associate left in a hurry, probably because of the ghost, Daniel. Kate stares at him in disbelief, struggling to understand how many adults could believe in a myth. Rafferty points out that Daniel is the man in the picture Kate's holding, and that he owned the inn years back. Rafferty thinks Kate won't stay, since her associate left, but she disagrees. She plans to spend the night at the inn, and try to find someone to sell it the next day. Rafferty doesn't think it's a good idea for her to stay alone, but Kate defiantly says that she's not afraid of ghosts. Later on, Kate gets ready for bed and falls asleep. A few hours later, someone walks into the house and goes to her room. Kate hears the footsteps and thinks someone is invading the place. Her door suddenly opens, but there's no one waiting. Kate quickly grabs her phone and a nail file to protect herself. She bravely goes downstairs, and Daniel shows up right behind her. Kate is so startled that she bumps into a shelf, and a vase falls on her head. The last thing she sees before passing out is the silhouette of a man coming close to her. The next morning, she wakes up on the couch with a migraine. She's confused as to what happened, but slowly her memory comes back. Instead of being scared of the ghost, she's mad. Kate overhears someone playing the piano, and follows the sound only to find Daniel. He's playing as if he has no worries in the world. Daniel politely wonders if her head is fine, and she snaps at him. He wants to know when she's leaving, but Kate has no intentions of not finishing her job. She's nothing but obstinate and professional, and a ghost will not get in the way of her plans. Taking matters into his own hands, Daniel picks Kate up and drops her like a hot potato outside the house. Kate calls the police and explains that there's a trespasser in the house. The officer doesn't find anyone, leaving Kate confused and questioning her sanity. A few hours later, Daniel shows up again and warns her that he wants her to leave his property. Kate calls the police again, to no avail. Daniel continues pestering Kate, but it only makes her angry at him, not afraid. Later on, Rafferty shows up, and Kate accuses him of withholding important information from her. Daniel isn't a common ghost. He can touch things and even eat, things that should not be possible. Daniel appears to be part of the conversation, and explains that he might be cursed. During December, he can be corporeal and walk around the house normally. After Christmas Eve, though, he becomes incorporeal again. Kate is skeptical about his explanation, so Daniel decides to show her. He takes her to the back of the house and suddenly disappears. When Kate goes back to the house, he's already there, waiting for her with a smug smile. He loses it when Kate informs him again that she won't leave. Kate finds the whole situation mysterious, and her inquisitive mind starts to question Daniel's existence. She wants to understand why he can only be corporeal for a few weeks, and what happened to him. Daniel is no help to her. He's grumpy, silent, and prefers to be alone, eating as much food as possible. He can only eat when he's corporeal, so he enjoys it immensely. Kate and Rafferty talk about Daniel's situation, but Rafferty barely has any information on the ghost. Kate doesn't understand how Daniel can be so passive, instead of trying to find out why he's cursed. Kate firmly believes there must be a reason for that, and they need to discover what it is. Maybe that way, Daniel can rest in peace, and Kate can finally sell the house. Kate talks to Daniel about her plan to figure out what happened to him, but he refuses to accept her help. He already tried once to understand his situation, to no avail. He doesn't want to waste his precious corporeal time on a wild goose chase. Kate disagrees. With hers and Rafferty's help, they might be successful, and then Daniel can finally go to the light. Kate has good arguments, and Daniel begrudgingly agrees. He's tired of living a half-life. It's a very lonely existence. There's also the issue of the house being sold no matter what. If people find out that he exists, he will become a curiosity, and then his peace will truly be gone. Kate starts questioning Daniel about his previous life. He doesn't know how he passed away, only that it wasn't an accident. Someone took his life, though there were no suspects at the time. Daniel inherited the inn when his parents passed away, and he never wanted to sell it, different from his brother Charles. The day he passed away, he was returning from Canada after alcohol, something that was prohibited back then. One of the reasons he accepted to do something illegal is that he needed the money to keep the inn running. Not only that, but there was a woman he loved and wanted to marry, Lily. Lily was the love of Daniel's life until she betrayed him with Charles. He remembers that clearly because he saw them together right before he passed away. Daniel is still hurt by Lily's betrayal. He loved her wholeheartedly and was risking his freedom for her. Kate feels bad for Daniel, not that she can sympathize with him because she has never been in love before. Later on, Daniel is alone after telling his whole life story to two strangers. He picks up an edition of A Christmas Carol that Lily loved and has a flashback of her. Lily loves reading fantasy, and she believes in everything she reads, including ghosts. Her biggest wish is to have a library in the inn, not knowing that Daniel barely has money to keep the inn going. Daniel feels guilty about not being able to provide for Lily and for lying to her, so he decides to alcohol for extra money. Back to the present moment, Kate enters the room to talk to Daniel. She wants to continue discussing his past, but he refuses. Kate tries not to be annoyed by Daniel's skittish behavior and politely asks him to not go to her bedroom like the night before. He agrees. Before she can leave, Daniel wonders what her husband thinks about her being there, but she isn't married. That surprises Daniel, because Kate is quite forward and bold. He's not accustomed to women acting so independently. After all, he was born 100 years back. Kate gets defensive because she doesn't appreciate his judgmental tone, and explains that women can do much more this century. She's not ashamed of being a successful lawyer, and love isn't important to her at the moment. On her way back to her bedroom, Kate hears whispers that give her chills. The voices come from a bedroom, and Kate bravely opens it. The room is empty, but Kate still has the feeling that she isn't alone. Shaking the feeling away, she goes to her room and locks the door. The next day, Daniel has another flashback, this time with his brother Charles. They are arguing about Daniel's idea of alcohol. Charles strongly disagrees with his brother, and he's afraid something might happen to him. Daniel's already sick of Charles's constant presence, especially because it's obvious he has feelings for Lily. Charles doesn't deny his brother's accusation. Lily is everything any man could ever want in a woman. She's beautiful, respected, and comes from a good family. She's also very sweet and caring. Charles threatens Daniel that if he goes to Canada to smuggle, he will report him to the police and take his shares of the inn. Alone in her room, Kate searches for answers regarding the inn. She wants to see if she can find any link to Daniel's passing away, and who could have done it. Her bathroom door suddenly opens, startling her. At first she thinks it's Daniel, and goes looking for him. She finds him shirtless in an upstairs bedroom. Kate would never admit it to anyone, but seeing Daniel's strong body makes her heart flutter. He's truly a very handsome man, even though he's a ghost. It's hard for Kate not to stare at him. Thankfully, Daniel soon reminds her that his personality doesn't match his looks. He rudely informs her that his room is off limits, and Kate says that hers is too. He should stop banging doors, only to scare her off. Daniel has no idea what she's talking about. When they arrive in the living room, there's a woman with Rafferty. Her name's Molly. She's the sheriff's sister, and she needs a place to do her Christmas party, because she can't do it at her house. Daniel immediately denies the request, grumpy as ever, but Kate tries to negotiate with him. Daniel doesn't want anyone in his inn, and complains about everyone invading his solitude. Kate is tired of his whining and drama. She orders him to follow her lead, and he finally agrees. Molly starts discussing the organization of her party, and even says she will bring her own staff. Daniel interrupts her by saying that he doesn't trust anyone to prepare his drinks. Molly challenges him to show her how good he is, and he surprisingly agrees. Kate decides to help him and buys the ingredients for him. Later in the evening, there's a small get-together for Daniel to show his prowess. Kate watches him with curiosity. He's a mystery to her. He can be very grumpy and rude, but he can also be charming and pleasant. She has a good time listening to him talking about his drinks, but her good moods are about to disappear. Her boss calls her to talk about the inn, and he wants her to finish the appraisal as soon as possible. She doesn't have time to waste on Daniel's every whim. Not if she wants her promotion. She overhears Daniel talking to Molly, and finds out more about his story. Lily married Charles days after Daniel's passing, and she soon gave birth. The gossip at the time was that the baby was Daniel's. Lily and the baby passed away during the birth at the inn. Kate is shocked by this piece of information. Daniel is upset that they are talking about his life as if it's part of a book, instead of something that happened. He storms out of the room and starts drinking to numb his constant pain. Kate goes after him to discuss what they learned, and Daniel confesses to her that things weren't great with Lily. She didn't appreciate the fact that he was doing something illegal, something that could dirty their names if he was caught. There's another flashback in which Lily and Daniel are arguing. She wants him to quit the smuggling, and pleads for him to not go again. Daniel begrudgingly promises he won't, but it's a promise he can't keep. Lily has no idea that they are broke, and Daniel is too much of a proud man to allow his family to starve. Kate understands Lily's position, and disagrees with Daniel that she didn't love him. He put her in a difficult position, pregnant before marriage to a man that was into illegal activities. Daniel not only left her pregnant and alone, after promising he wouldn't, but he led her straight to Charles's arms. Daniel hates hearing the truth coming out of Kate's lips, and orders her to leave his house the next day. Their arrangement is over, and he doesn't want to see her again. For the fourth time in her life, Kate's rejected by a man. But this time, it hurts. Despite their constant disagreements, Kate develops some feelings for Daniel, and now she doesn't know how to deal with them. As always, when she feels threatened, she lashes out. Now she feels as if nothing will work for her. She will lose her promotion and her heart, all because of a handsome ghost. When she vents to Rafferty, he advises her to not give up on Daniel. He's just accustomed to getting what he wants and not being challenged. Kate doesn't know if that's a good idea or not. Back to Daniel, he sees something that shakes him to his core. Lily wearing a red dress and smiling. He goes after her, but she disappears. Daniel doesn't know if he's hallucinating, or if Lily had the same fate as he did. Lingering in the house is a ghost with nowhere to go. The following morning, Kate wakes up determined to win Daniel's trust back. She buys a Christmas tree for them to decorate together, and even rejects her boss's call. As she's looking for Daniel around the house, a door for a room opens again. Kate walks into the room thinking it's Daniel, but the door slams closed behind her. For the first time since she arrived, Kate's truly afraid. A shadow appears in the bathroom telling Kate to go away, and she screams. Daniel comes to her rescue and opens the door, hugging her close when he sees her crying. Kate is mad at him because she believes he's scaring her on purpose, but Daniel denies he has done anything against her. Daniel wipes Kate's tears away and takes her downstairs. Kate wants to leave after finding out there might be another ghost in the house, one that isn't as friendly as Daniel. He convinces her to stay and help him solve the mystery that is his afterlife, and she agrees. Kate apologizes to Daniel for the way she talked about his life the night before, and he forgives her. Unbeknownst to her, for the first time in 100 years, Daniel doesn't feel so alone anymore. He usually scares everyone away, but not Kate. Her stubbornness brought some light to his darkness. They decorate the Christmas tree together, and it's a wonderful time. Kate opens up about her family, and how Christmas was her mother's favorite holiday. It's a time she remembers her family being happy and united. Now, Kate usually spends Christmas by herself, and it's depressing. Despite acting tough, Kate has low self-esteem. She thinks she's broken after seeing her parents divorce, and incapable of love. Every single relationship has failed because of her, and it's embarrassing. Sometimes she wonders if she will ever find someone to share a life with. Daniel also confesses to not having a proper Christmas in 99 years, and he's glad Kate did that for him. Existing the way he does is painful and horrible. He doesn't know why he's still around, or how to break his curse. He has lost all hope of figuring the mystery out. They comfort each other, and Daniel holds Kate's hand, making their hearts beat harder. Later on, Daniel offers to sleep in Kate's bedroom to make sure nothing dangerous happens to her. At first she refuses, but he makes a convincing argument. Kate pretends to be bothered by his presence, but the truth is that she's happy he's there. She quietly tells Daniel that if she could buy the inn, she would. She doesn't have money for that, though. Hours later, when Kate is already asleep, Daniel hears someone whispering his name. Instead of going after the sound, he stays in Kate's bedroom to protect her, as he promised. When Kate awakens, the first person she thinks about is Daniel. He stayed there the whole night long, watching over her. It makes her heart flutter. Later on, as they make breakfast with Rafferty, they discuss the other ghost and who Daniel's eliminator is. The two main suspects are Lily and Charles, but Daniel adds the mobster he worked for. He quit after his last fight with Lily, and his boss wasn't happy. Daniel starts remembering what happened the day of his passing, and recalls someone stuck him from behind. Before they can move on, Kate's boss calls again and demands that she return to Boston. Kate has no other option but to agree. She promises she will return to help them figure it out. Daniel gives her his father's watch so that she never forgets him. It's the most romantic gesture any man has ever done for her, and Kate wants to grab him and kiss him. They stare at each other for a long time, wondering if it would be a good idea to push the boundaries. In the end, they decide it's not the time. Daniel watches as Kate goes away. His heart clenches painfully when he thinks about the possibility of never seeing her again. Later on, he confesses to Rafferty that he likes Kate. She's beautiful, brave, and smart. Back in the day, he wouldn't like a woman so passionate, but Kate's different from anyone he's ever met. It's refreshing and frightening. Rafferty suggests that Daniel might want to try something with Kate, but he refuses. He doesn't think it would be good for her to date him, and only be able to see him for a brief time every year. The next day, Kate receives a mail with information about the inn and Daniel. At the same time, Daniel invites Kate's associate to appraise the house. That's not good news for Kate, because her boss wants her to focus on selling the house now. She will also get the promotion she dreamed of, but instead of being happy, she's disappointed. Now she can't go back to the inn as she planned, because she has to work. Days go by, and Daniel is feeling depressed without Kate's presence. One day, he hears the piano playing, and goes there to see if it's the other ghost. To his great pleasure, it's Kate. They eat breakfast together, and Kate wonders why he decided to sell the inn after all. He did it for her. It warms Kate's heart that he's giving up the one place he can still exist, and all because of her. Kate also has something to tell Daniel. She found Lily's baby's birth certificate, and Daniel is the father. She didn't betray him, she only married Charles to cover up her pregnancy. Daniel is emotional and sad that he lost both Lily and his baby. He feels guilty that he left her behind, despite promising not to, and only bad things happened. Kate comforts him as he cries, but they are interrupted by Rafferty and Molly. There will be a Christmas dance at the inn, and Daniel is genuinely excited about it. It might be his last one, so he wants to enjoy it. In the evening, Kate and Daniel decide to show up at the dance together. Kate looks beautiful in a red dress, and Daniel looks dashing in his suit. She gives him his watch back, but this time it's working. Daniel is touched by her gesture. Seeing him so vulnerable and emotional, Kate can't stop herself from kissing him. Daniel's heart is almost pounding out of his chest, and he tries hard to not appear overexcited. They dance for a while, until someone else asks to dance with Kate. As he watches her dancing, he feels someone grabbing his hand. Then he sees Lily in the middle of the room, looking worried. Charles shows up to talk to her about Daniel, and how he won't show up, but Lily doesn't want to listen to him. Daniel follows them and finds out the truth. Lily never once stopped believing in him and hoping that he would come back. Daniel also remembers the face of his eliminator. It was his cousin Harry, the same person he helped when he needed it. Daniel sees his cousin's ghost and goes after him. Kate notices he looks distraught and follows. When she wonders what's going on, Daniel explains that not only has Harry eliminated him, but he's also the second ghost. Harry shows up and finally admits to his past mistake. He did it because his family was being threatened. Harry's ghost is stuck in the living plane, and as long as Daniel stays, he will stay too. Lily's ghost also appears, though she doesn't say anything. It dawns on Daniel that he isn't stuck in the living place because of Harry, as he believed. He's stuck because Lily wanted him to let go of his anger and resentment. Daniel forgives Harry, and they make peace. Harry's and Lily's ghosts disappear, but Daniel doesn't. Kate is relieved he is still there. For the first time ever, she loves someone. She confesses to Daniel that she wants him to stay with her, but Daniel doesn't think it's a good idea. They still don't know if he will show up again the next year. Kate promises she will wait for him, no matter what. Daniel kisses her, and the clock strikes midnight. Kate falls asleep, and Daniel makes a promise to her. She will find someone else to love one day, and she will be happy. Lily's ghost appears again, this time to take Daniel with her. He can finally move on. Before they cross over, Daniel stops Lily. He doesn't want to go. He wants to stay with Kate. Lily understands, and says that it's his choice to make. Go with her, or stay with Kate. The following day, Kate wakes and realizes Daniel is not there. She cries when she understands that he's gone. There's nothing left for her to do at the inn. She packs her bags and says goodbye. Her boss calls her again asking her for the contract for the inn, because someone wants to buy it. It's Molly and Rafferty. Kate says goodbye to Rafferty and to Daniel. Before she leaves, the front door mysteriously opens. When Kate goes outside, she sees Daniel coming in her direction with a big smile on his face. Daniel kisses her and confesses that there's nothing else he wants more in the world than staying with her. Kate couldn't be happier to accept him at her side. In the end, Daniel got a chance to start over with the woman he loves, leaving behind his pain and past. As for Kate, she finally found love.